Well, hey, good Friday evening to you. It's good to see you all again. How are you out there in internet land? I am your host this evening, and always the one, the only. That's right. The Dungeon Delver. That's me. Who loves you? I do. Who does this 5 nights a week? Me. Who brings you old school tabletop RPG goodness and other associated nonsense 5 nights a week? Who else does that? Nobody. That's right. Just me, baby. Just me. But it's good to see you guys, and it's good to be seen by you guys. One of the neat things about doing this is I get to hang out with you guys. And that is an extremely cool thing. I am very, very honored to have you all as my audience. And so I put the question to you, how you guys doing this evening? I'm going to take a minute here. I'm going to take a hot minute to stop talking and move this camera out of the way, because I should have moved that today, and I didn't. And it's in my way, and it is a big, huge distraction. Let me see if I can do this without causing a fuss. Can I do it? Yes, I can. Look at that. Nothing came crashing down. Nothing fell. Woohoo! We are now no longer being partially blocked. You can witness me in all my awesomeness. So we had Van Kyle on last night. You know him as Ricky Maru in the chats. Okay? I think we can call him Rick. I think we can engage in that degree of familiarity that we can just say Ricky Maru. He was on here last night, and we talked about a role-playing game from Free League called, and apparently I've been saying it wrong all along, it's Mark Work is what it's called. It's Might Work, something like that. But anyway, it was a lot of fun to have him on and talk about that role-playing game. And he put up with the slings and arrows of my little on-screen pranks with great aplomb. So that was awfully nice of him. The pole arms guy, lol. Yes. What can I say? He does love his pole arms. And I razz him endlessly about it. But again, he takes it in stride, because that's just the kind of goofy little fun house we have around here. What's happening in tabletop gaming right now? Apparently, so I kind of got to keep up with this sort of thing. You know, it's like, you know, we're out here on our farm, right? You know, we got a pond over here with some ducks in it. We can, you know, fish for catfish and bass. Got corn growing in the back 40. General stores a couple of miles up the 2-lane road. It's not even a highway. Doesn't get a car a month since they put in the big 16-lane, one county over. We like it like that, don't we? But occasionally, Andy Griffith must go to Mount Pilot. Yes, indeed. So, to that analogy, apparently Wizards of the Coast have announced not 6th edition, but that they are bringing back Planescape. Planescape is coming back. Now, Planescape is a 2E thing, and consequently, I don't really care about it, but it's not Planescape that interests me. Because this discussion came up, and I think it's very, very correct. We are seeing the end phase of 5e right now. Starting with 3rd edition. Well, 3.5 is just a massive patch for 3rd, so I don't really. Although you could maybe you could separate them. And Dragonlance. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. Yes, and Dragonlance. But the point is this. We know that it's been time to take Old Yeller out behind the woodshed. Because in every edition thus far as I can tell, the pattern goes release an edition with a core setting. For third, it was Greyhawk. I believe for 4E it was Forgotten Realms. I could be wrong. My apologies to FR fans if that's not the case. 5E seems to have also followed with there's a famine in Fargo, that's right. A new starter set with Hank from the D&D cartoon in the cover does not surprise me. I did not know about that. But anyway, yeah, they're stealing the past from us as fast as they can get their hands on it and rake it towards them. But anyway, so the pattern is release a new edition with a core setting. As the new edition goes along, start to ignore that core setting more and more and more and more. Then at the end, you get a little bit of porpoise. Not purpose. I'm not trying to say purpose. Porpoise. That is, the old edition jumps up to the top to be seen, or the old setting rather, in the new edition, jumps up to the top to be seen. But towards the end of the edition, they start talking about new settings that they're going to bring. We're bringing back Dragonlance, Spelljammer, just whatever. To be honest, I'm surprised. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if they don't have a big cork board on the wall with a grid on it with all of the released D&D settings. The grid is not evenly spaced. There are some of this grid squares are bigger than the others. Some are tiny. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see Maztica or Birthright. And they just throw darts to see what the next setting at the end of the edition is going to be. So it brings in people who've been lingering, I'm not buying 5th edition because there's no support for Spelljammer. Hey guys, we're bringing back Spelljammer. And to kick out sales of those last warehoused books, they release support for a new edition. And then that edition ends and is promptly shuttered as the development cycle of the new edition starts to get closer and closer and closer to release. So what we're seeing now is late stage edition death for 5e. That's my opinion of why we're seeing this. And people who jump on right now, who've been sitting on the sidelines waiting to jump on, those people will be told, well, it depends, whether or not we're going to do Spelljammer for 6e really depends on how sales of it in 5e went. And they'll go mad. They'll buy stuff, they'll create stuff, they'll hit the interwebs and cheer and jump up and down. It's happened going all the way back to 2000. For 22 years, this has been their shtick. There's not anything terribly different. So what we're seeing right now is late stage edition death for 5e. 2024 is going to be the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons as a hobby. My thinking, and this is not wishful thinking, because until or unless you somehow manage to release actual Gary Gygax Greyhawk products, whether you back a truck full of gold bullion up to Gail Gygax's house, or you dust off notes that you've been sitting on waiting for this moment. But come 2024, I think we're going to see Greyhawk for 6th edition. I'm not pleased by the prospect. I don't think it will be good. It won't be something that I want to add to my Greyhawk games. I mean, 3rd edition, and I told, when I talked, we did a Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure D&D Antiques Roadshow years ago. I showed where there were issues of Dragon Magazine that, there was more Castle, which is just Mordenkainen, like Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure 2. And some other supporting bits. But all that was by Rob Kuntz. But I don't, I don't really know of much of anything by anyone else that I would want to pick over and add to Greyhawk. So unless they're going to Alan Hammock, unless they're going to RJK, unless they're going to guys like that, with the D&D relaunch in 2024, I just don't feel like, if it is Greyhawk, and I don't think it will be, honestly. I kind of feel like it will, but deep down in my gut, I don't think they're going to go back to Greyhawk. If we see Greyhawk again, it will be at the end of 6th edition. It will be the throw a dart, land it on Greyhawk. Let's break out some Greyhawk stuff for late 6th edition, which will be like 2028, 2029, 2030, 2031. I'll be 60 something then, if I'm still alive. One of the reasons why is one of the chief antagonists in Greyhawk are Drow. I mean, we've been exploring the Giant series. They're the bad guys in the Giant series. They are ancillary bad guys in the Slavers series, which is probably something they'll never touch again. How do you reconcile Drow are now purple and good with that kind of history? How? So, I guess in the overall, I'm just kind of in wait and see mode. But for those of you who didn't know about the announcement and what the announcement meant, take it from me, that's what it means. This late in a product cycle, announcing a new campaign setting, or old campaign settings rather, just means that they're propping up the ceiling of the old edition while they're building the new edition over here. They want you to think that everything is fine. With that said, 2024 is a ways off. I mean, if it is more than 2 years away. So this will likely be a slow decline. Certainly, they're not going to announce tomorrow 5th edition is dead. 6e will be along later. That's what is called the Osborne effect. Now, for those of you who don't know, Osborne was a computer company. And in the mid-1980s, they released a pretty good PC. I think it was based around CPM. Random internet spraying Febreze. But they released a PC that was a pretty good spec. It was in the pack. It was in the Vanguard. People liked it. And at the CES our Consumer Electronics Show that it was released at, the CEO did his keynote speech and said, if you like this one, in just a couple of years, we're going to release a better one you'll like even more. People canceled their orders in droves. It did not build hype. It stopped sales. And it sank the company. Because all the money on pre-orders of the new unit stopped, and some people wanted to return their pre-orders and get their money back and wait until the new unit came out. Well, the company shot themselves in the foot, and the consumers shot themselves in the foot because there was no company to sell them a new unit. That was the end of that. So I don't think WotC is dumb enough to engage the Osborne effect drive just yet and say, well, 5e is dead, long live 6e. Because the grognards just do, let's be honest, we're still, not we here on the show, but grognards are still, by and large, the lion's share of their customer, people who buy game rules, which is why they're pushing D&D as a lifestyle brand so hard, because they want to be able to make massive screw-ups like the Osborne effect and it not hurt them. Okay? They want the word edition to go away. They want the words rules revisions to go away and errata to go away. They just want to churn people over and over again. They want, I think they want at least part of the GW business model. And I've talked about GW's business model before. Games Workshop's business model is kid comes in to the store, 11, 12 years old. Salesman convinces him he wants an army of Space Marines, probably Ultramarines. Mom and Dad want to keep him happy. They buy him the army. They buy the paints. They get the Dwight Dwarf mags. He comes in every now and again and blows 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks on a single mini. It used to be 60 bucks and 5 boxes of Space Marines, but what can I say? It's not 1990 anymore. And he does this, maybe glopping some paint on and so on, until he hits 14 and realizes that girls aren't icky. Space Marine Army or Tyranid Army or Tau Army or Chaos Army, whatever army, the paints, the minis, go up on a shelf and are forgotten about forever. He leaves the hobby, never comes back. because there's another 11-year-old right behind him. Now, problematically, some of those people will sell their armies on eBay, which, dings Games Workshop sales. Or even worse, the worst case scenario is that guy sticks around. He plays into his late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s. He becomes a grognard. And he can tell the kids, relatively speaking, at the game store, he can go online on forums and he can talk about how squats got nerfed and then disposed of, about the glory days of metal miniatures, of how things didn't used to cost $100, or even worse, he buys a 3D printer. That's something that goes on right now in Wizards of the Coast's D&D world. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 41 years now. I started playing when I was 11. I'm going to get to that, random hijinks. I've been playing D&D for 41 years. I can tell you about buying a basic set with terrible dice and a crayon to color them, and simple, easy to learn rules, and the freedom that we had back then, the creative freedom. I can tell people about how cool Greyhawk was, about Drow being bad guys, about orcs not just being misunderstood, and so on and so on and so on. Wizards of the Coast really doesn't want me around. They don't. They don't want me to talk to people about our Lord and Savior First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and point people at AD&D on drive-thru and point people at free resources and communities of people who enjoy First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and so on and etc. They don't want that. They want a cycle of consumption. They want somebody to come in, start playing D&D, embrace it as a lifestyle brand, and then leave after a while, having shed some of their money. They don't want eternal customers. Focusing on the dedicated consumer for them is anathema, and they realize that now. They have to take steps to fire people like that as customers, however they do it. So the net result is that we're now seeing a shift towards the model where they want all head and very little beer. People that want the beer, well, you're out of luck. They want the floofy foam is all they want to sell. A D&D purse, a D&D t-shirt. Go to the movie, buy the merch. But don't stick around. Don't talk to the guys still running AD&D. Don't go on YouTube and listen to what Bill Sylvie has to say and watch his AD&D live streams. If you have to watch a D&D live stream, why don't you watch Critical Role, kids? And so we reach back where 6th edition is coming along. 6th edition will be stripped down even more of the baggage of a classic Dungeons and Dragons and made more into a product for the consumer. And all I can really do is hope that people looking for Dungeons and Dragons come rolling into YouTube and the search algorithm sends them my way. Because let me tell you something. Now, I was discussing Stranger Things the other day on the Discord, and a lot of people were like, Stranger Things. Haven't watched an episode. Don't even care. They didn't even get the dice rolling right. That's not the right attitude, guys. All right. I don't want to drive away people who are genuinely, legitimately interested in classic D&D, who want to know why their D&D stuff doesn't look like the D&D stuff on TV. If that's someone's doorway in, if that hooks people in, whether it's because of nostalgia, I used to play that when I was a kid, or this isn't like the D&D that I see for sale in Borders. I want those people to get a little closer, because I have never run a classic D&D game, OD&D or AD&D, at an event where somebody got up and said, I didn't like this. This was not good. I want something new. Every response has been something along the lines of, wow, that was great because I felt like I could just do anything. Robert Phillips asked me a question about Quag Keep. Yes, Quag Keep is Greyhawk. Quag Keep is the first Dungeons and Dragons novel, and the first Dungeons and Dragons novel is Greyhawk. And I will tell you that Gary played the sessions that became Quag Keep right over yonder. Right over yonder. I am pointing in the direction of the next little suburb town outside of Orlando. It's a little closer to Orlando than I am. It is in that direction, and it is called Maitland, Florida, and it is where Andre Norton lived with her sons back in the 1970s. Actually, she lived here for a really long time until she passed away. And she, Gary came down to Florida, which sounds a lot like the devil went down to Georgia, I just realized. But Gary came down here and ran a D&D game over the course of a weekend for Andre Norton and her sons. And it was set in Greyhawk, and she took notes and so on and et cetera, and created Quag Keep. Now, Quag Keep, if you accept its conceit, it's a fun novel. I think TSR really missed a beat. They should have jumped on it and said, look here, new fiction. TSR and Ace Science Fiction, like, work together. It could have been a much bigger thing for D&D than it was. Get out the 1EDMG and let's review the part about magic swords with intelligence and ego. Forget about the new D&D. It's not worth talking about. Well, as someone who brings you guys news, I feel compelled to talk about the news. So we won't worry about it anymore. And we'll talk about magical swords one day. We got about a half an hour before Gamma World. You guys got me talking about Quag Keep. I almost said Quag Keep. We got about a half an hour before Gamma World, so you know. So Quag Keep is canon. Now this is, my players have yet to delve in that region. But yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, Lake Quag, it's right there on your Greyhawk maps. If you need source material, grab a copy of Quag Keep. Now, the fourth wall breaking parts of Quag Keep, well, consider, if you will, Gary said dimensional hopping, planetary traveling stuff in Greyhawk from day one. Arak's cousin, or was it Arak? It was one of Ernie's characters. Went to Mars and learned how to fight with two swords from John Carter. I mean, I turned into Joan Roby, for shame. I don't get that, but okay. So that's just a little bit of trivia you might not have known. I really do think you should read Quag Keep. If you want to read the definitive quote unquote Greyhawk novels, you should start there and then go into the Gord the Rogue novels. The first two were published by TSR. The rest were Nippy. Although I think you can get reprints of them now. But yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot. Now, there were Greyhawk novels after Gary left TSR. They were almost parody works in how they were written and really they really just tore down Gary's Greyhawk legacy. I mean, those and the Castle Greyhawk module. Yeah, I don't consider those canon at all, actually. Some druids are the villains in Quag Keep. That's right. They're balanced, but they fight against the heroes. Joan Roby wrote The Truth About D&D. Gary went down the floor to the... Oh, I get you, A-Wig. Okay. I got you. I didn't know that. Rules about magic swords. They're not so much identical to the intelligence. I think, random internet, that the model of Stormbringer and Mournblade and so on and etc. through the Champion Eternal cycles are much closer to the D&D model, but intelligent swords do pop up here and again. I mean, you can make a case for, Excalibur can't be drawn from the stone by anyone except, Arthur. How much hate should be poured onto people who use the term character build? Well, I think kindness and patience for those people. And then if they won't give it up, then, we need sterner stuff. Well, passerby in business, the longer a customer stays with you, the less they're likely to spend and the more they're going to want for their money. Actual cash cow customers are few and far between. Let me give you a good example here because they've been in the news lately and I happen to live at ground zero of the mouse ear mushroom cloud. Very possibly, Damien. You get somebody who, say, they live in Central Florida, or even, oh, hello, Elwa. Good to see you. Eloise. You get somebody who lives here in the Central Florida area, or even as close as, say, up the coast in South Carolina or Georgia or Southwest Alabama. Basically, Disney is a one-day drive for them. You know, it's not thousands of dollars in airplane tickets. Maybe they have they know someone who lives here, or they just know how to game that. Like, yeah, we're going to stay in a crappy hotel, and it's most of a day's drive, but the money we're going to save, we get to spend at the park. Okay. They buy their seasonal pass holders or their year-round pass holders so they can get into the park anytime they want. They've been coming for 15 years. They remember when things were cheaper and they associate it with better. And that's very true with the way things are at the House of Mouse right now. But the point is, those people, everybody tends to view the past with a fairly nostalgic vibe. Things were better in the past. So those people, you know, they want a little something extra for their money. The family from Melbourne, Australia, who comes one time, they save up from, like, when the kids hit middle school till they finish high school down there. They save up and they come to Orlando, Florida, one day, or not for one day, hopefully not for their sake, but for a weekend or a week, and they blow their money out and they don't complain about anything. They just pour their cash out into Disney's buckets and leave. What's more valuable to Disney as a customer, that family or the person who knows to park at Disney Springs and then take a bus onto property so they don't have to pay the $20 parking fee? They know that the food served at the kiosk outside the Rose and Crown in Epcot is exactly the same as the food they serve inside. And that's true for all of the restaurants in Epcot, by the way. All of those people, and they'll tell people, hey, I just overheard you guys, you can't get a table in Rose and Crown. Right around the corner, there's a little place. The portions are a little bit smaller, but it's cheaper. And there's a store that sells Disney merch. It's just if you go out, just hop a bus to Disney Springs and then just literally walk out to Lake Buena Vista Drive and turn left or turn right. There's stores that sell Disney merch, and it's so much cheaper than in the parks, and it's the same stuff. It's actual Disney merch. Those people are bad for Disney. They're Disney grognards. So you bump into a guy like me in a game store, and you're like, "You seem to know what you're doing. What do you do? What is the D&D? What is this? How can I?" I'm like, "Look, did you see Stranger Things? Yeah, I saw Stranger Things. That's it. And this is all confused." I'm like, "You want the D&D on Stranger Things? There's this website you can go to, Drive Through RPG. You just order the books. I'm going to be running a game, or I got a website." And suddenly, they're not buying D&D. They're buying AD&D. They're watching this channel, or Dungeon Minister's channel, or Evil DM's channel, anybody's channel. And they're no longer being drip fed by Wizards of the Coast. I just cost Wizards of the Coast a customer. If I'm not in the way, that person asks the store, what do I need for D&D? Starter set, dice, core book, miniatures. Big purchase right there, material goods. So that kind of and they play 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sessions, and then they set it aside. Versus the guy who spent $60, $80, $90 even on reprinted 1 ebooks and listens to us grouse, and they dig their heels in and they're like, yeah, bring back the old stuff, bring back the Stranger Things kind of stuff. Why buy dice and you make your own chits? Yes. There was an article, I think it was on Wired or Vice or something like that, about gaming, not gambling, which still gets done, but gaming, like tabletop gaming in prison, and guys who make dice out of soap because they can just, literally it's like, oh, they're coming to, do whatever in the cell, just put it in a cup, shake it up, mash it together, what dice? Or they make them out of compressed toilet paper and they can just toss them in there in the loo and hit the flush button and it's gone. But anyway, the point is, I won't be a cash cow for Wizards of the Coast. I'm not going to be a cash cow for Wizards of the Coast. And if I can help someone else not be a cash cow for Wizards of the Coast, but at the same time, strangely enough, I kind of am a customer of Wizards of the Coast. There's a few modules. Somebody asked me last night about reviewing the Desert of Desolation series. Well, I just might have to get those print on demand. Ew, Praxis. Let's just leave that there. But the point then of all of that is they just want somebody to come in, spend money, and leave. If you don't come back, they charged you a premium. If you're gonna stay around as a lifestyle, or stay around as somebody who, like, if you wear earrings, you get a little pair of D20 earrings. You buy a t-shirt with the ampersand logo on it. I mean, this thing right here. See if I can not knock stuff off when I pick this up. The D&D postcards. I didn't get that for free. I had to pay for that. And who did the money go to? Wizards of the Coast. I bought a lifestyle item. In my defense, it's got classic artwork in it, but I wanted to show it off to you guys. Can I do it without knocking stuff over? Yeah, there we go. No, that stuff's threatening to fall out now. I'm gonna set that there. I'll figure out how to put that back up there later. Excuse me. But guys, that's really, that's what I mean when I say Wizards of the Coast wants the GW business model. Now, with that said, GW has been doing some bafflingly awful things. I can't. I can't even figure out what is supposed to be going on with Wizards of the with GW's current approach. I just I can't I don't know. Words fail me. Hopefully by 2024, that'll kind of be faded in the background practice. See a red box and I want it painted black. Well, that would have been TSR, because there was a point at which their basic or beginner set quit being like the box sets like we know, and kind of became this almost board game like affair. And that box was black. But anyway, and there's little we can do to change it. I mean, every Praxis really wants me to talk about unusual swords. I'll do it for a super chat. No, I'll just wrap up with this. We're actually kind of running out of preamble time, but the new and easy to master. Luther, I agree with you. But anyway, the GW business model is just a head scratcher, but it's working, which is more of a head scratcher. If you've ever seen the movie Primer is very, very, very weird. It is a time travel movie that it's about as dull and flavorless to me as like a Microsoft commercial from the same era, but some people just go ape over it and have proclaimed it like the new Blade Runner in terms of meaningfulness and everything. But there's a little scene in the beginning that I like, and it doesn't even, it's so weird because they invent like a perpetual motion machine, something that doesn't follow the laws of thermodynamics. Like they unplug this gadget. They're floating some scraps of paper in whatever impedance field is around this thing, and they unplug it from both of its power sources, and it just sits there going. And the guy's like, how long is it going to do that? And he's like, I don't know that it'll ever stop, or something like that. That's kind of how GW is to me. It's like, logically, you should unplug the power and it should just stop, but it's not. That doesn't make any sense, but there we are. That doesn't make any business sense. Oh, I have ruffled some feathers by smack talking Primer, I see. Have I ever heard of Anima Beyond Fantasy? I have. Yeah, I have. There were actually some gorgeous books for that. I just never got into it. It was a metaphor about Nikolai Tesla. Okay. You know what? We have 10 minutes exactly on the button. I will devote, because I have talked about goofy nonsense all night. Before we get into let me see. Let's go to page 166. Before we get into Gamma World, I will talk a little bit about swords, about magic swords. Okay, so here's the thing, and this always throws players for a loop. Spice up your swords, guys. Spice up your swords. If a treasure pile has a +1 sword in it, go to page 166. And dice for it. There's a 25% chance the players are going to wind up with a sword that is potentially smarter than them. No, I have not gotten into MA. We'll talk about MA one day. But let's do this real quick. Let's do just a quick and dirty. Where's my other D10? Okay, let's see. 77. Intelligence 12. One primary ability. Semi-empathy. That's what our sword. We'll just say it's simple. It's a +1 sword. One primary ability. So it's got a primary ability. Let's see what its alignment is. It communicates through semi-empathy. The possessor will receive some signal, a throb or tingle, and feels urges when its ability functions. I'm not going to say it. Steer away from D&D, and he loses his cool. Oh, that doesn't sound fun. Cohen hates sword. I don't even... What? All right. Oi, the sword is crazy. All right, so what do we got? For alignment of the sword, 62. Absolutely neutral. Note, any character whose alignment does not correspond to that of the sword, except as noted by the asterisk above, will sustain hit points of damage equal to the number of ego points, see hereafter, of the sword each and every time the character touches any portion of the sword, unless the sword is in the grasp or possession of a character whose alignment is compatible with the weapon. So our absolutely neutral sword is for absolutely neutral characters. I was blowing on my dice, Luther. Anyway, primary ability. Our sword has 1. And it is 33. Detect traps of large size in a 1-foot radius, or a 1-inch radius, which is 10 feet below ground, 10 yards above ground. If the same ability is rolled twice or more, range of the power is double or triple, etc. All right. It's not a special purpose sword. Sword ego, each plus of the sword, 1. So it's +1, and we add its intelligence. I think... Or no, its ego is 1, its intelligence is 11. And if a sword, you combine its ego and intelligence, and the personality strength of a character is ego plus intelligence, intelligence plus charisma plus level of experience. Level is reduced by 1 for every group of hit points of damage taken equal to the character's average number of hit points per... Whew, okay, there's a lot of math there. But basically, the more beat up a character gets, the stronger a sword... The sword's a chance to influence them becomes. So that is a thing that can happen. All right. Well, we got 5 minutes. Let's do another sword. All right. See if we can get something really interesting here. All right. Not magical. Oh, 1. Come on. Oh, 2. Wow. You know what? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many is that? All right, we're going to roll a d6. We're just going to roll a d6 and see what happens. All right, a 3. 2 primary abilities, speech. and its intelligence is 14. The sword will speak its alignment language plus one or more other tongues indicated on a table hereafter. Let's roll its alignment. Our new sword is Chaotic Good, 01. Primary abilities. We had 2 primary abilities. First primary ability, 61. Detect gems kind and number in a half-inch radius. Nice. Oh, 98. I'm going to treat that as 99 because I want to see what's going to happen when we roll on the extraordinary power table. $98. Character may choose 1 power from this table. Let's give it heal 1 time a day. It's not a special purpose sword. So it can speak Chaotic Good and it can speak Chaotic Good. See the section on language determination under personae of non-player characters for a listing of many possible tongues. Oh, okay. We roll percentage 65. That's 2 additional languages. So I will say Chaotic Good, Common, and Storm Giant. Storm Giants are Chaotic Good. So there's its languages. It heals once a day. It does. It can detect gems and what kind. We'll say it's a +2 sword. That's pretty nice. And its ego. Each plus of the sword, so that's 2. Each primary ability is 2, so that's 4 ego points. Each extraordinary power is 2, so that's 6. Each language spoken, that is 3.5. Or, I'm sorry, 1.5. So 7.5. Let's see. So there you go. Int 11 or int 12 ego 7.5. And those are some of the fun things we can do. Thank you very much. Praxis for asking about that. And now we know. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. It's as smart as a high school freshman. It is. Well, there's different flaming swords, though, Vincent. Which flaming sword are you talking about? Not all of it, but some of it. Maybe we'll just have a sword day, and I'll just talk about swords. Sword is one of those words that the longer you say it, the weirder it sounds. Sword, 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 sword. All right. But it is time to put fantasy in the rearview mirror, because now, and for the next couple of hours, we're going to talk about Gamma World. As I welcome Short. Let us welcome our players. James Keck,
Hello.
Argo. And of course, Mobius. How are you, gentlemen, this evening?
Hello.
Hello.
Aside from the wind, I'm great.
Oh, you got the winds? Have you tried maybe cutting the dairy out? Or
Yeah. These are 60 miles per hour, so...
Oh, Lord, see a doctor. Good night. That's no good. All right, so let us pick up where we left off last week and other L-associated things. Did we just lose somebody, or is everybody here? No, everybody's here. Okay. So, last week, you're approaching the strange building where your adventures seem to have truly begun, the X-70 building. Previously there, you met a very friendly Orlan who wanted to swap some atomic batteries. But now that you're back at the building, the sun is setting. What do you wish to do, adventurers? You had fixed you think you'd fixed the auto. As I recall, there was some repairing going on with it.
I believe we were trying to go find parts to get it fixed up, weren't we?
Oh, that's right. You had taken it back. Yes. You were looking for parts. My apologies.
And that's why we had to go back to the genetics building.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we figured we'd ask the Orlan. And he's upstairs on the second floor.
Yeah, you think, he might be. He might be.
Third room to the right.
So, you enter the stairwell, and like everything in this building of the ancients, it's dusty, musty, and covered with the grime of the ages, and it zigzags back and forth above you. What is your marching order as you go forward? I mean, I'm sure Gerg is riding on someone's shoulder, yes?
Sure.
Okay. I thought that was Gerg.
No, sorry, Gerg.
Gerg. All right. Okay. There's a skeleton, no clothing on it or anything like that. It's just lying there. Big piece of skull is gone. There's kind of some scorch marks on it. Just some various random bits of junk scattered here and again. You're not sure if this is stuff that the Orlan didn't consider important or hadn't gotten a chance to pick over yet, but there you are. You arrive at the third floor. The door is open and is wedged open. There is a wedge of wood is holding it open, and it looks like maybe he had set up shop. It's a little less filthy, and there are stacks of things. He's neatly piled here and again in the corners, and the hallway proceeds ahead of you many meters. Many meters.
Any sign of the Orlan being here recently?
No.
Listening closely, we don't hear any banging or any noises off in the distance.
You do not, no.
Okay. Walk on down the hall.
Okay. There is a couple of push carts that have some strange machines of the ancients set on them. There are arrangements of bolts and screws and so on. It looks like maybe someone was in the process of either repairing or disassembling something here. A couple of hand tools there. And in front of you is the door where it appears that that is where the Orlan intended for you to meet him at.
On the right?
Yes, on the right.
All right.
This isn't propped open. The door to the floor was propped open.
Right.
The door to the floor was propped open. His door is not propped open.
All right.
Listening at the door. Do we hear anything on the other side?
What's your intelligence?
It is.
I'm sorry, 15. Yeah, it sounds like there's something shuffling around in there.
I do some hand signals to the guys. Just like pointing.
I will get my laser rifle ready.
Gerd will send out a greetings to the Orlan telepathically to see if he's responds.
Yeah, the Orlan does respond, but it's very confused and very hazy. You think you contact the Orlan's mind, but it's very disoriented.
Okay, I'll let the others know that there may be trouble. He may be hurt or injured, poisoned, something.
All right. I get my triangle shield out and a spear.
Okay.
Case.
Okay, I'm gonna like hang back a little bit because I'm hurt. How long do these med packs take?
They're basically instantaneous. I mean, if you just lie still and let it do its thing. That sounded very creepy. If you just sit there and let it heal you, it depending on the extent of your injuries, it could be 10 minutes to a couple of hours or the better part of a day. I don't think you were dead or anything like that. So, yeah, but I mean, by the time...
Okay, I'll wait till after this, so.
Okay.
I'll just hang back.
Only mostly dead.
Only mostly dead. Okay.
So is there a mechanism for the door, or
just a simple handle.
All right. Oh, the guy with the shield do that.
All right. I will.
I'll get my laser rifle out.
I'm gonna hand signal 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm gonna try to jerk the door open.
Okay. The door thuds, and then you realize that it opens inward away from you.
Okay.
All right.
Does it have a sign on it? School?
No, it actually it does not. It does not.
Midville School for the Gifted.
There you go. So,
I'll push it after I pull it.
all right, this is what you see when you open the door. There is a large gleaming metallic framework of some kind, sort of bent into an inverted J shape in the middle of the room. There's a table or desk or something. On it is the bloody body of the Orlan. One of his two heads is missing the top of it, and it's just empty. Sitting on the floor next to it, there are a few different sized containers that appear to have metal tops and bottoms and completely glass sides with little bubbles bubbling up through them. And there are pink gray masses in them of various types. You're not sure, but you think you see the Orlan's foot twitch a couple of times. And then you realize that the metal framework is slowly and meticulously moving, and you can hear the faint whine and hiss of mechanical parts. What looks like a cluster of insect eyes almost on the end of a flexible metallic arm turns 180 degrees down around, sort of lowers to about your eye height. And this metallic voice from somewhere in the midst of the mass of metallic framework says, more specimens. Excellent. The trauma involved in organ extraction and preservation has rendered this one almost useless. Remove all of your garments and approach in whichever order necessary. And it kind of sweeps something, and there's a wet splat as the Orland's remains land on the floor. It then turns and...
On the door shut. I'm not even going to wait for it to do what it's doing.
Oversized metallic arm raises up, and there are it's dripping blood. And it comments, I must apologize in advance. All anesthesias and euthanasia drugs have long ago expired. I'm afraid this will be quite traumatic for you. And it starts to clank across the room. Let's roll initiative, please.
Boy.
Who was that? Kevin, were you the one?
Yeah.
Long ago? Yeah. Well, you go ahead and roll. You go ahead and roll initiative then.
Yeah, great. It's a 1.
No.
Okay, yeah. 2 strides of its like 7 precise metal legs, and it's across, and it's reaching. It's reaching a couple of grasping arms out of one side. Now, don't hesitate. We must advance science. Your vivisection will prove quite informative in increasing my knowledge of anatomy, as it has changed considerably since I was last activated.
I'm not going to wait. I'm going to stab it in the eye.
Okay.
Spear, if I can.
That's fine. It's well, I mean, it's spent its round advancing, and go ahead and roll to hit.
Okay. Uh, 12.
Okay. Let me see here. Goodness. You think that hits? You stab it at something? Let's see here. Let me... You jam it in there, it clanks off metal and such, and et cetera, and it just sort of clucks its tongue. Well, it doesn't really have a tongue. It sort of makes a tisk sound and says, I really must program my medium-term memory to stop announcing what I am going to do to samples in the future. Still, your musculature is quite interesting, and it is reaching over to grab your arm. What's everyone else doing? What's Rex Dashington doing?
Dashing?
I will back up to create a little distance, but I will shoot
of a kilometer or 2. All right, so you're gonna zap it.
I'm gonna try.
All right.
Oh, not that hard. 8.
All right. Let's see. That's a 13. Yeah, no, it just kind of ping, just sort of glances off something shiny inside it.
Gerg will take a shot with his laser pistol.
All right.
An 11.
An 11. Is laser pistol 13 or 12?
I think it was 13. I wrote it down here.
I know a rifle's 13.
It's 13. Pistol
Yeah,
and rifle are both 13.
Class 13.
Okay, yeah, you hit something and there's sparks and the smell of melted plastic and metal.
Okay. 19.
Oh yeah, that it kind of like you blow a laser hole in it.
Okay. And start backing away.
Mutant creature, you must not interfere with my primary function of biological sampling and study. Let's see, who's next? Milo?
Yeah, it would be me. I want to take a shot from the door with the laser rifle.
Okay.
That's a 17 to hit.
That will hit.
That's 66. $24.
Okay, yeah, you blast another hole. There's a spray of some milky white hydraulic fluid or something like that. Plastic melts. It's sort of moving a little bit jerkily, and it. I know what it's going to do in the next round. So, you guys going to keep shooting?
How close are we to the door? Are we just like in the doorway, or are we?
That was my understanding. It's slid across the room and is at the door.
Okay, so we're backing out in the hallway. I guess I'll take another shot.
All right, Rex.
If Kevin turns and runs, I'm going to turn and run too. But if Kevin is going to stay, I'm going to shoot him.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop my spear and pull my sword.
Okay. And I would point out that Barongo is in front of you. If he turns and runs, he's going to run into you guys. So, all right, Milo.
Well, if everybody's in the way, I guess I'm taking a shot.
Okay. Then we'll go over to James for initiative, please.
6.
All right, you guys take your shots.
Hey, 19.
That will hit.
$21.
Okay. Again, you fry circuitry, you damage stuff. You can see wiring harnesses and so on are hanging out of holes and whatnot. And it's just like there's this. It was speaking calmly about how it was going to, as humanely as possible, vivisect all of you in order as you came in the room. And that has now turned into this high speed shrieking gabble. Just what you hit whatever it speaks with, and it's just Rex Dashington.
I got a 10.
A 10 will not hit.
Ugh.
Hilo takes a shot. That's a 18 to hit.
That will hit.
$19.
Okay, yeah, it's smoke is pouring out of vents and a couple of accessory arms are just completely blown away. It's still kind of trying to lunge forward and grab Barongo. You gonna take a swing at it there?
Can I, if I'm switching weapons, can I still attack, or is that going to take my round?
Oh yeah, no, I do the D&D thing. You're dropping a weapon and drawing a weapon is.
Okay. 18.
Let's see.
Class 3, so.
Okay, class 3. Let's see. That'll hit.
Okay. This is large or
Oh yeah.
okay. Let's see what I got. 7 damage.
Okay. Its speech has normalized, but it's still like high volume through a busted speaker level of distorted, and it is just repeating the word impede over and over and over again in that metallic hollow voice, and it is reaching out to grab a hold of Barongo still. What is Barongo's armor class, please?
It is 3. Oh, actually, it's 2 because he's in front of me, right? So it's 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the two grabber arms that were coming out of the left to pick Barongo up kind of reach out and very affirmatively clamp onto the air and then unclamp and clamp and unclamp and clamp. And it's trying to move its seriously damaged camera turret boom arm thing to look at the clamps and figure out why it's not grabbing you. And it sort of turns and just keeps blaring impede over and over again as it lurches forward to try again. Let's roll initiative. Yang, roll initiative for us, please.
2.
All right. Thinks it's got everything down pat and will now attempt to once again sample Barongo. Much better. Barongo, the arms push forward. There's kind of this ratcheting sound, and a few springs and metal pins fly out and clatter off of everything. But they swing around and clamp shut, and this hurts quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
You take 23 damage.
All right.
Crunch. And
my arm, it got my arm or something else.
It's just got you. It's just kind of got like your shoulder, your torso.
Okay. Ouch. That really. Too bad I don't have sensory nerve endings.
Yeah. Wow. It is now kind of starting to rotate clockwise to go back into the room and drag you over to the blood-soaked examination table. It's changed what it was saying, and now it's just repeating the word restrain over and over again.
So it's back
gentlemen.
To us now?
I'm sorry, what?
It's backs to us now? It's like
not yet. It's going to turn. Do your worst, gentlemen.
I'll take a shot.
16.
Oh.
Yeah. 9 points.
Okay, you're slowly chipping away at it. It is scuttling very slowly in a semicircular motion to go over and find out what makes Barongo tick.
17 for me.
That will hit.
And 23.
Oh, wow, 23. Okay, yeah, so you aim for the big mass of wiring harnesses and ribbon cables and circuit boards and just lean on that trigger, and a crimson beam, and it is crimson because there's plenty of smoke in the room now to give the beam a little coherency, just plays across that mass of stuff, and it just lets out an electronic howl and says, "For science!" and then collapses on the floor, dragging Barongo to the floor with it. It's still clamped on. So Barongo, it's not damaging you anymore, but it's got you in a nice vivisecty hug.
Gurgle
And it's-
sling this blaster over his shoulder and run over to Barongo and try to figure out a way to get him out of there.
Yeah, you can take a moment to pry the thing's robot arms away.
Okay. It's holding me, but it's not. I can wiggle out with help.
Yeah, that is correct. You can
Okay.
wiggle out
Right.
with it. Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
it's not like one with you or anything like that.
I'm going to take this opportunity to reload my laser rifle with another power pack. I'm out.
Okay.
And I'm going to use one of those meta packs.
Okay.
My last one.
I will do the same.
Okay, so the room you're in, which is presumably where the Orlin had holed up, yeah, it's kind of a chamber of horrors. The Orlin has been vivisected. Lots of him is now in those containers on the floor, including one of the Orlin's cerebrums is in the container. There are a number of thin, fine, hair-like, multicolored connections made to parts of it that lead to a square base that it's, lead to the bottom of the tank it's sitting in, which is sitting on a square base with a couple of blinking lights.
It's too bad we left our medical robot back at home. We could have done a retransplant.
Gerg will try to reach out to whatever's left of his mind, see if we can do anything for him.
It is very confused. The sensation you get back is that it feels like its entire body is on fire. Doesn't understand what happened, doesn't understand what's happening. Why can't it see? Why can't it hear? Someone put out the flames.
Absolute horror.
Yeah, pretty much. Trapped in myself, body my holding cell. Robot has taken my sight, taken my speech, taken my hearing. It's like that, but not fun.
Is there any way to turn this machine off to put him out of his misery?
You're gonna have to. There's not much connected to it. I'll tell you that. There's a couple of consoles with switches and one of those screens, but it's maybe 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters and a jagged line that keeps repeating across is one of the boxes that's connected up. There's a few switches on it.
Guess Gerg will go flip a few switches.
We got one of those carts from the hallway to grab some of this stuff.
Okay.
Rex will help Milo, but he's having some PTSD flashbacks right now.
Give me a few rolls there, Gerg.
7 and 4.
Yeah, the switches you flip, like the screen gets a little dimmer, then a little brighter. That's all it changes.
I got a 2 and a 1.
Yeah, you can. You can basically. One switch stops whatever's in the jar from being fed any kind of nutrient, and the other one shuts off like any sensory input.
Okay, he'll send out a last thought to him to sleep well.
Okay. Just again, pain and random thoughts. There are, again, in the other jars, presumably other parts of the Orlin. But there is a lot of stuff piled up in this room. It had quite the collection of items.
As I come back in with the cart.
So, how'd things go with the Orlin? You unplug him? Well, that's too bad.
I didn't want to see it.
Understood.
Seemed like a nice fellow.
Generally speaking, the Orlin are... Okay, so a lot of this stuff is literally just building materials. The weird crumbly white on one side, some sort of fuzzy yellow material on the other from ceilings that have been stacked very carefully, some of those that are intact, bundled up, pipes or tubes or something made of metal. But there are some items that are otherwise in the room, if you wish to examine them.
Yes.
All right.
Gary's going to try to find if there's anything in the room that matches up to the drawings that we've got.
Okay.
These metapacks, they're for use or one use? What?
They're for use.
Okay, and what's the heal when you use them?
Total.
Okay.
You just have to be patient and let it do its thing.
Okay. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'll be patient.
Okay, so you have a couple of obvious rifles.
I would like a rifle so I don't have to use these hand weapons.
Okay. Hanging on a rack in one corner of the room is plastic armor. It is a type of armor that the ancients used. It's basically one step below powered armor. It's that good. Flexible joints.
That's what I'm wearing.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we should maybe take this for
Darn Dootin.
some of the other guys are trading.
Into the cart.
Okay, and
Can't one of you guys wear it? Or are you guys all wearing plastic as well?
I'm wearing it too.
Okay.
I don't know
all right, let me
about
see.
Probably too big for him.
Oh, maybe we could commission some Orlins to make him some plastic armor.
That's a good idea. Or we got to kill
Okay.
batters.
There is a let me see here how to describe this. There's a long, narrow box. Seems to be made of some impact-resistant substance with clips on it. Most of the markings have worn off, but there is a yellow radiation circle stamped on it that is still clear.
Yeah, leave that one alone.
And last but not least, there is one other thing. Oh, and that plastic armor is armor class 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the
and
clips on the radiation box, are they does it look like they're latches or is it something else?
They look like they're latches.
Oh, okay. All right.
Securely latched, I hope.
Yes, they are all latched. Actually, there's a couple of things. Let me see. Or that is not all that is in the room. There are some. I have to be patient with my same. Aha, you recognize there are atomic energy cells.
Nice.
Jackpot, guys.
So he traded his life for our energy cells.
Eh,
Not
there's a case with 6 of them in. Same. And there's one other thing. There is something in the corner that is wrapped up in sheets of a clear cloth-like substance. It has obvious attachment points for power sources. It's got an attachment point for an atomic battery. It looks kind of like the thing that the poor Orlin was strapped down to, but a lot less sinister. It's got this sort of arm that goes up and terminates in a conical device that points down. That's kind of folded down somewhat. And this thing is very carefully and very delicately packed. And there are controls and consoles all along one side of it.
Do any of the implements on it remind us of anything that medical robot had?
Well, I mean, the only thing on it that reminds you of the medical robot is there are some symbols embossed on the side that their paint has faded somewhat, but they're impressed on the metal. One is what looks like 2 snakes wrapping around a rod with wings at the top. Next to that is what looks like a figure 8, but it's elongated and lying on its side. And then next to that is the one you do recognize, which is a red circle around a red cross.
Guys, I think this might be something beneficial, kind of like that robot that we have back at our base.
How large is this? Will it fit in the cart? Or can we go get another cart?
This will not fit on the cart. This is the size of a hospital bed. It is narrow enough that it will fit through the door, but if you think of like a gurney.
Oh, it has wheels?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, well, it is its own cart.
Looking at the robot that tried to kill us, does he have anything that looks like it could fit in that spot that you said had a hole? In the medical robot or the other robot we're looking at? You said it had a missing hole or a slot, like for an energy piece or something. I thought you said no.
Oh no. The thing on the cart, that slot is for an atomic battery.
Okay.
And this thing, when you blasted it, you probably blasted its battery because it's
to bits.
Yeah.
Okay.
You say.
Does this other one look like we could fit it in our chariot?
The other one, the bed thing.
Yeah. Or maybe strap it to the roof.
Yeah, you think maybe you could do something like that.
Does the chariot have a luggage rack?
No, it does not.
Maybe we ought to see how heavy the thing feels. Try to lift it a little bit, just to see if we could get it out to the vehicle.
It's very heavy. It will take all of you. I mean, rolling, it's extremely well balanced, but picking it up, yeah, that's going to take all of you to do. Well, that's going to take Rex and Milo and Bronco to do.
Right. Well, we'll roll it. It fits out the door, right? So no big deal.
Yeah.
Just roll it. But we got to figure out what to do once we get it out there.
Okay.
About the rifles, what kind of rifles are these? Do we know? Have we seen these before or not?
Let's see. Let me get there. See, for some reason, PDFs want to open in a web browser here. I need to change the association. And if I scroll too fast, it has a little fit.
Well, it's probably Edge too, which is terrible.
Yes, that is correct. Microsoft, we're giving up on our own web browsers and using the Chromium engine. The world, yay! Microsoft, we Microsoft it. Boo.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, you took the Chromium engine, which has been used for so many great browsers that have sweet FA to do with Google, and you made it as terrible as Internet Explorer. That takes some doing. That takes that takes just an outright hatred of humanity. Let's see. You have not seen these rifles before, so you don't know what they are. You will have to experiment with them.
I'll take one, but I'm going to worry about experimenting with it later after we get out of here, or
maybe outside
in an emergency.
How many rifles?
There are two.
Taking another glance around the room. If there's nothing else other than the piping and tubing, we're going to throw in the cart as well. We're out of here, I guess, hey guys?
So there were no like knives or swords or anything like that? Or axes?
There are several things like that on the end of one of the robot's arms.
Oh, take those.
I could really use one, but I don't know if I want to go near that robot.
I was hugging it earlier. I'll go and try to get the arm off for you.
All right. Well, then I guess Rex will go and try to see if he can get one of those implements.
Yep.
Give me a D20 roll there on removing that arm.
Oh God. 14.
Okay, yeah, you're able to kind of flex it back and forth, and the plasteel and so on does eventually give way and start to pop. And in the process of doing that, the cranial camera turret rotates in your direction, and high pitched out of the speaker, it shrieks, "Bad life!" And then the lights dim on it again.
Rex, let me see. Okay, he almost soils himself.
That's right. Almost dropped the deuce.
So I will take that and quickly get away from the robot.
Okay. You now have its surgical manipulator arm. There are bone saws, molecular scalpels, couple of nasty looking drills, something that looks like a tiny miniaturized sewing machine, something else that has a little row of stainless steel surgical staples on it, something that looks like it's supposed to have a tube mounted in it, but that is gone. This would basically function as a club. If you started beating somebody with this, they would hate it.
Nice. Maybe the robot can use some of these things.
I'm sorry, there was some crosstalk there.
Sorry, are there any other doors or anything leading out of this room?
There are not, no.
This was the third door on the right. What's in the second and the first door on the right?
Well, we have to
take a
have
look.
proof, or do we need to do anything with this, Orlin?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I
Okay,
suppose we could
good.
bury him, but
Okay, I'm good with it.
Well,
Move on.
what's the Orland tradition for death? Do you bury them or sell the parts or?
The Orlin typically would have a funeral pyre for their dead.
We could burn the building when we leave.
I like the way you think, Barongo.
Firefighting robots show up and force them all to breathe Halon. Okay. Bless you.
Sorry.
Oh, we lost somebody.
Oh no.
Yeah, we lost Milo. Yep.
Milo. Oh. All right. So when Milo comes back, we'll deal with him. I need to check something real quick. Why, a message on Discord. That might be Milo himself. Help. Yes, that was him. He will be right back. So while we await him, what else are you guys doing?
Well, if we're gonna hang out for a little bit, I'll just start looking at this rifle. I'll stay in the room. If they're in the hallway, I'll stay in the hallway if they're in the room.
Okay.
Just in case stupid stuff happens, because it's common.
The parts and everything that we saw in the carts out in the hallway, Ger's going to take a look at those. See if anything matches the ones we're looking for.
Nuts, bolts, just some various odds and ends, screwdrivers, tools, things that have been taken apart. Kind of non-functional junk, really.
Okay.
Was there anything on the Orland to identify him, like a ring or something that if we went to his village and was like, hey, we found this guy, monogram sweater, something?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
Yes, we see you, Milo. Welcome back. Welcome back from the void.
That computer borked.
Okay. I would point out that the two rifles are in poor condition. They are rather battered, bashed up. The thing that's wrapped in plastic, whatever that is, with the medical symbol on it, is in very good condition. It's not perfect. It has obviously been, used at least once. You're not entirely sure, but it does seem to be operational. The missile case is rather. The missile case, or whatever it is rather battered, bashed in. It's got a couple of dents in it.
The one with the radiation symbol on
With
it?
the radiation symbol. And the batteries are perfect. They always work. So
Okay.
Be real careful with the case.
yeah. Do not drop.
So we're loaded up.
Yeah, let's just see if anything jumps out at you guys on your way back to the car.
We should peek into room number 2 and room number 1. Don't you think?
Works for
Well,
me.
so up to you guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're here.
It's on the way.
Yep.
All right. Well, room number 2, which is closest to room number 3, obviously, looks like it was actually this Orland's like sleeping quarters. Like he converted this into a place to rest. There's a bed. There's a table, a few more disassembled items. There's
What about pictures?
half-eaten plate of food. I'm sorry. What about what?
Pictures or things with the Orland in it?
No, nothing like that. Although there is a book here next to the bed. A book that is covered in some kind of tanned hide.
Any clothes in case we see one of them flying things?
Yeah, there's some Orland clothes, so 4 armholes and 2 neck holes.
Chuck those in the cart.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at the book.
It appears to be a journal. There's not a huge number of pages written in, but the Orland was recounting his days here, his time here.
Anything about the thing that killed him?
No, the last entry mentions that it had, or he, I should say, the Orland had found a truly wondrous device. If it's operational, then it could be a new miracle. Thought it heard something moving around in the lower levels and would investigate later. So there is also a collection on a strip of cloth of the Gerg. You recognize these. Nobody else does. They're the different colored plaques that when you first entered this building, you were using to open certain rooms and whatnot.
We had a green and a blue one, right?
That's right. There's a yellow one, a red one.
We'll take those with us.
Alrighty.
In the book, is there by any chance any map or mention of where exactly he's from?
There are a couple of rough maps of the area around this building, but no mention of where he's from. It does talk about when I get back home, but is not specifically. Good.
Oh, sorry. Anything else interesting on his maps of this area? Like another building or cache of junk?
No.
Guess we'll take another look around the building, the room here, and if there's nothing else of interest, then move on to the next one.
Okay. The next room is stripped bare. There's simply nothing in it. Dust. Empty shelves.
Well, shall we head back to the, somewhere. Do we want to go to our new fortress, or do we want to go back to the village? What do you want to do?
Well, didn't we need the cells to get the other car working? We got to go get the other vehicle and get this convoy rolling.
We still don't have all the parts for the other car.
Oh, I thought that's all we needed.
No, I don't think so. I think there was like several pieces.
Yeah, there's a few odds and ends you actually need to get that vehicle operational.
Yeah, I think we might have to track down the Orland village somehow.
I think you said we could tow the vehicle behind us, couldn't we? Or
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you guys asked if you could. Yes, that is definitely a possibility.
okay. Or maybe they could hitch it to some beasts of burden to drag it along.
Okay. I mean, were you being tongue in cheek about that, or?
Oh no! I meant kind of like Steve's chariot there.
I got what you're saying. I thought you were being funny about making the player characters drag it back to the village behind them.
No.
Okay. All right. So the rest of the day passes, and getting the bed-like gadget down 3 flights of stairs is hilarious.
Pivot.
Yeah. Turn it sideways. No, your other side. And so on and etc. The miracle that you don't drop it and break it. But you finally do get it out. And it is coming up on the evening when you do finally get everything out.
Gerg's keeping an eye out for any weirdness outside there as these guys are wrestling this thing.
It's Gamma World. The weirdness is everywhere. But in the time it takes you to get this thing out of the building and so on and etc., nothing untoward happens. So where are you going? Whither will thou goest?
Do we want to go back to the village and try to get somebody to come back with some beasts and hook up the other vehicle, or do we want to try to drag it ourselves? Oh, wait, we already took the vehicle back, didn't we? That's right.
Yes.
Right, never mind. So I guess head back to the village and see what we can do there.
We don't see any other vehicles or parts of vehicles or anything anywhere near here.
There is one that is as stripped down as Steve's mobile pulpit. The vehicle uses for that purpose, but otherwise, no. Actually, it's even more stripped down than that because it doesn't even have wheels or tires anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They parked their car in the wrong part of the apocalypse.
Probably doesn't have platinum in its catalytic converter either. Okay.
That was one of the first parts gone.
That and the gas, right? Yeah.
I don't know if anyone here in the audience or our players are fans of pro football. Aaron Rodgers was looking kind of rough a couple of months ago in a presser, and somebody took a picture from it was like a police roundup of catalytic converter thieves. And these are all like burnouts and everything like that. And it's this grid of like 20 people. And the last is a picture of Aaron Rodgers in the look. It's like a blink and you'd miss it kind of thing. It's very funny. Anyway, so
is there any chance we might have some of these parts back at our new base?
You're not really a mechanic, so
I mean, maybe we should head there and see. There should have been lots of stuff in that big cavernous place.
It's a good idea. But we were trying to lead everybody. I don't know.
Because, I mean, I think we'd have time to go there and then come back.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
got some more atomic power cells. I mean, the fuel for the vehicles there.
Maybe the our healing robot will know what to do with this thing.
Good point.
And at the very least, we can get all these pipes and tubes to the villagers that are already there, and they can hook up more crops and stuff.
Indeed.
All right, let's give her a shot.
Okay. We're going to make something terrible happen to you. Hooray! I mean, let's see if we can have a wonderful adventure. Oh, look at that.
No more cactus thing. No more cactus things.
Oh, you don't want the weeds that teleport their seeds into your bodies?
No seeds. I hate plants.
Yeah, and Gamma World plants are worse than anything else.
Gamma World will be great, guys. Jim released this game years before Aliens. There can't be any body horror, and oh my god, the seeds are where? Everywhere. You know how much fun it is to pitch hitchhikers off your clothes when you've been out doing yard work? Imagine that, but inside you. All right. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm once again dealing with the... There we go. I promise between now and the next streamed game, folks, I'll have better PDF reading going on here. Okay, so you're driving along, and swooping close to your vehicle is a majestic Yexel. Flapping its wings.
Stop the car.
You stop the car.
Yeah, we stopped the car.
Go over to the trunk, grab those clothes I grabbed.
Yeah.
Start waving.
The Yexel lights on the ground next to the car and waddles over. They're not as graceful on the ground as they are in the air.
Is it the same one?
It smiles. It's Yexel-y smile. It says, well, howdy do, y'all?
Oh, it is. Hey, buddy.
Yes.
I was hoping we'd see you. I picked these up just for you.
Well, what are the odds? How y'all been?
Just Daisy.
Well, that is wonderful. Is that for me?
As a matter of fact, it is.
Bless your heart, and I mean that in the good way. Well, I can't take that without giving y'all something.
Really?
Reaches into a...
have to, but
he's got some kind of harness that he wears and deposits a bunch of junk on the ground and says, y'all take what you want. Oh, this is good. As he's munching away on the clothes. All right, so let's see. The Yexel,
won't that part.
Other than two, like literally just pieces of bent metal, there are two items. Let's see. Yexel lays down 2 torque grenades and a neutron bomb. Y'all take what you want now. There was this feller in an underground cave. He was crying, talking about you maniacs. You blew it up, and I just took this little bomb away. There were some 8 men.
That's good for.
Let's see. A question from Damien. What is the ABV of alcohol to kill off parasites in Gamma World? I don't know. Maybe we'll have a Gamma World drinking game one night. You guys will have to fund that. And from Rob Can't Say That You Lost One. What 5e has done progressively to individualize character even further, they are now completely equitable and homogenized for your playing displeasure. Yeah. Individually wrapped character packets. All right. So he drops some armor. And a vehicle. He drops a vehicle, guys.
Yes.
Oh, man, you're the best.
A grab sled. Clunk. He drops 2 suits of armor.
Oh.
It'd be funny if one of them's powered armor.
Marvelous. I'm like so glad we met you.
See, not everything is horrible in Gamma World.
Just most
A set of unpowered plastic armor and a set of powered alloyed plate armor.
oh,
Holy crap.
That sounds good.
powered alloy plate armor.
So let's see. And they are beat to hell. They are absolutely just like he shakes out the suit of powered alloy plate armor and just parts just fall off.
Well,
This one had some pad inside. I had to get my tongue way down in there, but it's mostly dried out. I think it fit you real good.
Well, trying to gather up as many parts as possible.
Okay.
Chuck them in the back.
Excuse me, would you by any chance happen to know where there is an Orland village around here?
Oh yeah. It's a good piece of flying though. I can tell you that. If y'all just turn this thing, because I think it turns. I've seen these before. They turn. Do they turn?
Mm-hmm.
They turn.
Yes.
If y'all turn this thing and y'all go that way, way that way, I don't know how fast these things go. I was able to keep up with y'all pretty good when I saw you. But if y'all could just go off that way for a while, the Orland Village, they're nice folks. There's some one-headed folks there, more like y'all. I'm sorry, Mr. Raccoon. I did not see any of y'all there. I'm sorry.
Grg.
But one day.
And which direction was he pointing, more or less?
South.
South, okay.
Yeah.
Which is back the way we came, I think, right?
No, you guys came from the west.
Ah.
The genetics building was a couple of kilometers off the highway south. But he's talking about, you don't know. He could be talking about a day. He could be talking about a month of travel. He's very vague on the subject of distances.
Thank him very much for his assistance, and if I come by any more clothes, they're all yours, buddy.
Yeah. So wait, I said there was powered alloyed plate, and what else was the other armor?
Plastic.
Okay, the plastic armor is fine. It's just beaten up, but the powered alloy plate, you don't know. You don't know.
We're gonna have to take it to Cooters to get it repaired.
All right. Well, he says, well, I'm going to go find a shady spot to sleep in and maybe some water that isn't too irradiated to have a drink. Well, I guess y'all have an absolutely blessed day. I'll talk to y'all later.
Catch you on the flip side.
He takes to wing and flies away into the distance in all his psychedelic glory.
Oh, they're so graceful once they get off the ground.
Oh, yeah. In the air, it's just like humanity before the war never knew beauty like that. But on the ground, it looks like a 1970s Sears catalog come to life trying to walk. Alrighty, group. What next?
Get on
Back
down
to
the
base.
road, I guess.
Okay. So you're heading back to your base, right? I just want to make sure.
think that was the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, might as
Okay.
well drop this stuff off.
All right.
We'll draw a rudimentary map pointing the direction he was stating that stuff was in.
Okay.
So we might have an idea of coming back this way if we have to.
I just love the fact in the middle of all this horror and radiation and devastation that there's a friendly NPC Yexel. Let's see.
Rex is going to try to find some smooth jazz. Oh.
Any music you want. Any music you want, Rex. You have a vague recollection of what smooth jab is supposed to be. So as you travel on, suddenly you hear stuff pelting off the side of the car.
Oh no.
You look, and on either side of the road are groups of batters, and they're throwing spears at the car. Do you wish to do anything with them or about them?
Are they doing,
Sure, go faster.
I was about to say, are they doing a whole lot of damage to the car, or are we just?
Yeah, it's like one of the windows gets like a chip knocked in. This is future glass, so it doesn't like shatter, doesn't cave in, but one of the windows crazes a little bit.
Okay, we'll floor it and get away from.
All right. You look in the rear camera view, and they're like jumping up and down, gesturing obscenely at you, uselessly throwing spears and so on and etc. But they're otherwise not a problem. And the last thing you see before they vanish over the horizon is dejectedly resuming their ambush positions.
Yeah.
And it is about that time.
Angry little buggers.
Yeah. It is about that time you reach your turn off for good water. Nothing really, you're rambling across open land. You got your, I don't know, I guess some light jazz as some Dave Brubeck going on there, some Take 5. You pass through the village. The folks wave as you pass in greeting. You have brought peace again to Goodwater. And eventually you come to the cavernous AFB, Air Force Base. It's just I think we should probably check, because there is some barren land between Goodwater and the Air Force Base. Actually, it's a good bit of driving. There's times when I hate that this die rolls high most of the time. All right, a couple of hours driving, and you finally run into something. And just for the funsies, we're going to consider this mountainous terrain.
Aren't we in Georgia?
No.
Damn.
Okay. You don't remember this as having been there when you left, but there is a stand growing across the road of tall purple bladed grass.
Uh-oh.
about 1.5 meters.
That is tall.
Stop.
Yes.
Reverse.
Yeah, we'll stop several.
You recognize it is Zeeth. Zeeth has grown across the road.
And
The stuff is pretty horrible. You might have a way to deal with it.
what if Gerg, did your life leech affect it last time?
Gerg. He says yes.
What if we approached it from opposite sides and both did it? From 20 meters apart. We hit them both.
Sounds good to me.
And then these guys could blast them from the car. If we fail to take them all out.
Sounds good.
Is there any other cover around?
Yeah, there's rocks and hillocks, and there's plants and birds and rocks and things.
A little worried about it damaging the car.
I mean, again, you know, you can certainly try a couple of things.
All right. So if we each go off the road on either side.
Did we pick up any poisons or maybe some very flammable liquid?
No, that's what I was thinking too.
Nope.
Where's some oil when you need it?
Gerg takes a look at one of those rifles that was picked up back there.
Okay.
Can you figure it out?
You'll have to give me a roll.
He's going to get away from the car, obviously.
All right.
And I'm assuming it's got a barrel similar to the one he's carrying already.
Sorta, kinda. There's a couple of knobs on it. There's a sort of an elongate one that has a tapered end that has a set of concentric discs near the tapered end of it. And there's sort of a squat silverish one that's really about the size of a good-sized bread loaf and rounded on both ends.
Kind of like Gerg.
Yeah, kind of like Gerg. The handles underneath it are angled so that you can at least figure out which way to hold it, and the direction it points, there's a slot in it. You're not sure what each one does, but
Okay, he's going to hold it the way he thinks it's supposed to be held and point it at the grass. And
so you're using the silvery one or the black one with the plates and the pointy end?
The silvery one.
Okay. All right. Start rolling some dice.
Ooh, I got a 5 and a 1.
Kind of putz around with it for a minute, but you're able to basically flip the safety off.
Got a 7 and a 6.
You flip the safety back on and power it down.
6 and a 2.
Nothing happens, but then you at least power it back on.
I grabbed my old laser rifle because since I had two that were depleted, put a new power pack in it, and then pass that one to Gerg. I can show him how to use that one.
Yeah, that's easy. It's a point and click interface.
Before anything happens with that, he rolled a 1 and a 1.
Oh yeah, you've got it sorted out now.
Okay.
Perfect.
Gonna aim at the leafy stuff and take a blast at it.
There's this hum and then a high-pitched chirp. The grass seems unaffected by it. There was like a blue-white flash out of the slot in the front.
Gerg will look at it kind of like, annoyed, and then turn the power off and pitch it back to whoever. And then we'll take I guess we'll go with the plan of life leeching them.
Okay. And I still pass you one of those rifles.
I've got a rifle, so
Oh.
no problem. Thanks, though.
Back in the car before we go there. And then, I think can we both go on either side of it? Like, is there like a ditch on either side of the road, or I just don't want. I just hope their range isn't like better than ours. Is what I'm getting at.
Well, let's see.
I'm staying by the car, but my
Okay.
sword isn't going to do anything with these guys.
The last time you guys encountered these, you didn't start filling up with Zeeth seeds until you got within 20 meters. What's the range of life leech?
10.
10.
I'll stay over here.
Actually, hang on. Let's see. Oh, actually, mine is 22 because of
Mine's 14.
because of what it's based off of.
Well, you could do it. I'm staying here.
Okay. So you wanna give it a shot?
Yes.
All right. The fronds start waving, and you're sensing a planty intellect over there. That's as they kind of lean in your direction. You see a couple of seeds just kind of pop into existence a couple of meters away and fall to the ground. And yeah, these things are thinking like, come closer, come closer, come closer at you.
And I say life leech.
Okay.
6 points to all of them.
I'm sorry, 6 points to what?
To all of them within range. Within my 22-meter range.
Okay. You kind of feel a psychic scream, and they all sort of turn brown and crumble.
Okay. How many of them were there?
There were probably easily 40 stalks.
Okay. I have 240 extra hit points right now.
Gerd can take a nuclear weapon, guys. Hey, want to see me eat a torque grenade?
Okay.
Give me that atomic battery. I'll drink its contents.
Okay. He'll
Chernobyl, I don't know who she is.
He'll saunter back to the car with a proud look on his face and climb in the driver's seat.
It takes some doing getting back in the car, considering the enormous balls you currently have, but you do manage to climb back into the vehicle, and you guys can drive on the rest of the way. You encounter nothing else and arrive back at the base. You're greeted by many of those dwelling within. There's, just reports, updates. We found a new section of the base. We haven't started mapping it out or exploring yet. A few disagreements. Some of the Knights of Genetic Purity have kind of got a little pushy, and we, had to get them to cool their heels. But generally, they're still fairly agreeable. Otherwise, things seem to be going just fine here.
We will, I guess, show them the new toy we found, and have them move it into the infirmary section of the base, I guess.
Okay. The doc bot is there, and you don't know where. You don't know if he got it or if somebody else found it, but the doc bot, over its rusty and still polished chrome in places, still brown rusty in others, is now wearing a long white coat. And it turns around and looks at what you brought in and says, "Expression of surprise," and glides over with a little pair of safety scissors and cuts the plastic away and says, He's examining it carefully. He says, "Do you understand what you have brought back?
No.
This is a rare experimental item that was being produced in limited quantity just before the war. This is a life ray. Do you know what that is?"
No.
Care to elaborate?
It can restore life function to the deceased life form.
Oh, damn it.
Nice.
Well, I guess we didn't burn the building down where the Orlin is yet. How long can they be dead?
It must be used within 24 hours of death, or cellular reconstruction cannot begin.
Oh.
Well,
Well, that leaves our poor orangutan buddy back at that silo. We can't bring him back.
It reaches, the Metabot reaches out for Rex Dashington and says, "Allow me to demonstrate."
Wait, what?
Ha ha! That is a little bit of what the others here say I should have, which is bedside humor.
I
It is against
approve.
programming to cause the cessation of life function, even
I approve,
upon
Robert.
request.
And Rex will pat him on the back.
Clank, clank. Your affection is returned, Rex Dashington.
Say, robot, while I'm here, would you mind healing me up a little bit?
Of course. It rummages in a drawer, and I mean, this thing's got like 5 arms, but one of it stretches over and then promptly tears through some kind of stretchy cloth glove that it doesn't have the correct number of fingers for. Turn your head and cough. That is another joke that I have been programmed with. I do not require this. I can self-sterilize. And its hands begin to get, like, even across the room, you can feel heat radiating from its hands. The glove melts. Rex Dashington, what is your injury, please?
I took lots of injuries in the fight against a blight.
All right, so it basically heals you.
Okay.
Yeah, it effectively commits a healing pack to you.
Thank you very much, robot.
Your injuries were severe enough that I had to use an entire pack, but we have a limited quantity of those. You are priority personnel.
Well, thank you very much. Guys, maybe we should tell the others about the life ray.
Of course.
Robot, can you estimate how many times we could use this life ray?
Currently, none. It lacks a power cell.
An atomic power cell?
Correct.
Okay, if it had an atomic power cell, about how many times do you think it could be used?
Once. Every use requires an entire atomic power cell.
Well, good news, guys. One of us can die once.
Well, assuming we can get back here in time.
Just letting you guys know, you have an entire box of atomic power cells, remember.
Oh, that's right.
You found a box in the...
Oh, 6. We have 6.
Yeah.
And there were some in the trunk of the car, too.
Yeah, there were a couple there.
Robot, if you could, please don't let anyone know about this just yet.
That goes against my primary programming. If someone requires use of the life ray, I must employ it. My first and primary duty is the preservation, or in this case, restoration, of life to the injured or dead.
Okay, we'll be right back after we lock this up somewhere else.
Shame we don't have those power cells.
Voice stress analysis indicates you are lying.
Well, there's lots of rooms in this building. Got to be a vault around here somewhere.
Well, we just got the box for the collectible purpose. We got to still get cells. Here, have the box. Take the cells with us.
You have to open the box to take the cells out. It's watching you do that.
Robot, can you turn around?
It turns 360 degrees. I was not programmed yesterday. You wish to keep the bed for yourselves. You wish to keep the life ray for yourselves.
Well, actually, Robot, I'm a little worried that people might attack the complex if they find out they can be raised from the dead. And perhaps they wouldn't understand and think you could raise anyone, not just someone recently dead.
There are persons within the compound who might require. I cannot withhold this information from them.
Just don't be spreading the information around to everybody. Well, of course, the people from our village will help them, but we can't let the word get out to the world at large, or we're sitting ducks.
I will keep this information confidential until such time as it is needed.
Where's the off switch? Okay.
Anesthetizing you for an indefinite period of time does not constitute harm.
So, Robot, also, we may soon have a lot of new villagers coming in.
Most excellent.
Please, if you could, prepare the space. It's a rough journey, and I'm a little worried some of them may come injured.
It glances around. There's a neatly arranged row of sick beds and this thing that you guys have brought in, and a separate cubicle for what you presume are more complex medical things. It rolls over to one of them and moves it a couple of millimeters so it's perfectly straight with the others. Task accomplished.
Thank you, Robot.
You are welcome.
We have a couple extra suits of armor and at least one extra or two extra rifles. Maybe we should outfit some of the other people in this town, so make a proper garrison. I mean, we're always gone.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to switch back into the power suit before we go.
Okay. Now that uses one of your atomic batteries every 20 hours.
What? Every 20 hours? Oh my gosh.
Now that I've said that, now your reaction makes me doubt. So let's see. That is a scout powered armor, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Let's take a look. Hope our viewers are enjoying, and I hope our gamers are enjoying this. Let's see.
It says battery life 54 hours of constant use.
54 hours. Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, I was thinking 20 hours. But anyway, I hope our viewers are enjoying and our players are enjoying this Gamma World session. And I will put it to both the players and the audience. Would you guys like to see this as a more visual game with maps and miniatures and that sort of thing, like I do with the D&D game? Are you happy with Theater of the Mind? Just leave your comments below. If you are watching this at a later time, you can put them in the chat. That's fine. Or you can even engage us over on Discord. And, Praxis wants to know where the things that'll get me demonetized are. I think I kind of answered that question in restating the question.
to take a look around the town and see if there's anybody mechanically inclined that could take a look at this armor.
The powered alloy suit is
Unless it's damaged beyond repair.
yeah, even if you can train somebody to use it, getting it to work is going to be completely other than, I mean, this is kind of almost a trophy piece at this point, unless you can find a very high-tech enclave.
All right.
I mean, most of your loyal guards here are spear or boomstick types.
I'll just keep it like a suit of armor and use it for spare parts if it comes up.
Okay.
Can we search our inventories here to see if we match up any of those parts that we need?
Sure. Yeah. So most of the base is, well, I shouldn't say it. No. Some of the base is collapsed from, the war. You're not sure if it's near missile hits or just the ground shaking, shifting normally. And, there's subterranean chambers even below where you're at that have just filled with water or are filled with rubble. Let's see. So we will go ahead. We will treat this as finding artifacts. We just gently scroll up so we don't cause poor Edge to have a nosebleed. And we'll take a look and see what, if anything, you guys can find. So on the first level, which is where the reactor was, and the ops room and the medical bay and so on and etc. You find there are some items, and the new villagers here have been having a fine old time, kind of figuring out technology and so on. So let's see. What did we got? So there's 11 items here that might be of use. So we've got let me pop open Notepad. Pardon me, valued viewers and players, while I do this. $36. We're almost there, guys. Bear with me. This is the weirdest spread, and I'll tell you guys when we get there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bless you. So on the first level of the base, which is the most intact, you do find significant cache of goodies. It is 2, 4, 6, 9, couple more. Now, you guys have experience with grenades, right? There's somebody still alive in the party who knows grenades.
Sure.
Yep,
I threw
that's
one
me.
or two.
Okay. You come up with
Oh, wait.
1, 2, 3, 4 grenades. Can't believe I'm letting you guys have grenades again, but that's you. You get some grenades. And we'll just do a quick die roll, and I'll let you know what you got. You have a fragmentation grenade, a torque grenade, an energy grenade, and another torque grenade. Enjoy. All right. Most importantly, however, off in something called a GAR. You don't know what else it might be. There's GAR, and then the rest of the painted on letters have crumbled and fall into the floor. It is a large structure of stone, and the stone of the ancients that has metal running through it. A lot of it has collapsed, but there are 2 vehicles of the ancients in there. And I will let you know what they are and what condition they're in shortly. Now that you guys have gotten down to exploring the building. Let's see, you got that. You got all right. You have a rifle of some kind. We'll roll a d4 for that. You recognize that. That is a laser rifle.
Is it in shape that it's functional?
That is a good question. No,
Damn
it is partially crushed. Sorry.
Parts bin.
All right. There is some medical equipment here. Oh my god, if you guys get a life ray again. No. There is a box labeled Intera shot, but you're not sure what that means. There is some armor. What is it? I'm sure somewhere at home Jim Ward is twitching because you guys have found all this stuff. God, don't give them all that. Don't let them have all that gear. Jim, your plants do body horror stuff to people. Don't. Let's see. There is alloyed powered plate armor there. And it is in perfect condition. You find that in a. There was like just a sealed cabinet. They're like, that looks like a coffin. We don't want to open it. And when you guys get there and look there, you're like, that's powered alloyed plate. So you have powered alloyed plate armor. And let's see. Some kind of light that just takes. It looks like it takes an energy cell that would power a weapon. But you think it generates light. And other, let's see. Oh wait, you know what? No, I'm gonna roll for that. Other. The other is a flexible rod. It's about 2/3 of a meter long. It's got a grip on one end. And on the end, it's got a metal tip. Looks like it's got a receiver in the bottom that will take a battery in it. So, the vehicles, that's what you guys are keen to know, I'm sure, what those are.
Armored tank. Come on.
Sorry, no.
Ah.
All right, one of them is very similar to your vehicle outside, except it's got some kind of everybody okay? It's got a solar. You recognize what a solar panel is on the top of it, but it's got this huge. It's got a protective grill over it, but it's got a huge bladed rotating. Well, you think it rotates. It looks like it's supposed to rotate. Fan, for lack of a better word, in the rear of it. The other one is very interesting. It's got an entirely enclosed canopy. It's kind of wedge-like. It has elongate, almost pontoons on the side. Lights and fixtures and whatnot. Let's see. The first one. Oops, that's not what I... the first one is in very bad shape. Everything's there. It just doesn't look like it's ever going to function again. The second one... Stop landing. There. The second one looks like you might be able to get it operational. So you might get some parts from the first one. The second one looks like it'll work.
Sweet.
So what do y'all want to do?
How large is the second one?
The second one has 6 seats in it.
Okay.
It has 2 fairly comfortable seats in the front. And even though they don't look anything like what's in the other car, you guesstimate there's controls. And then there are 4 kind of cramped seats in the back.
So is it more like a minivan or like a Prius?
Picture like a sports. Do you know how they get away with like sports coupes by calling it like, oh no, it's got a back seat for insurance purposes? It's kind of like that.
Shall we try to fire it up and see what it does?
Go for it, Gerg.
Yeah, I'm not very effective at this kind of work.
Okay,
Yeah.
which one are you're trying that one, right, Gerg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, got a 9 and a 2.
Yeah, you try a couple of maybe, and it doesn't seem to do anything.
Got a 4 and a 1 this time.
Okay. Some lights inside come on. They're very, very dim.
5 and a 1.
The lights go off completely, and then you get a couple of panels to come on. They're all numbers, kind of flickering and rolling and dimming in and out. You see repeated in several of the little monitors, no funk, F-U-N-C, with a period next to it.
Oh, no funky music. Darn. 9 and a 1.
You make them all go off, and then, well, wait a second. I need to look at the chart. Because that's... All right, so you got a 5 and a 1.
A 9 and a 1.
No, when you started off, you got a 5 and a 1, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that actually, because I wasn't looking at the right table, so I'll go ahead and give you that. So you get back to the point, all the displays are now stabilized. They're just very dim, and you're seeing the no function text everywhere on all of the screens.
5 and a 1.
You get just like a cascade of different messages scrolling up very quickly. But the central screen, which is it's kind of a blackish glass and green text is scrolling up, and it stops, and flashing inverse and normal text in the middle of the screen is no light to solar cells.
I point to the screen and look at the others.
Oh, and I was very wrong about this thing's dimensions. It actually is very large. You could easily fit a dozen people in here.
Sure.
Manny's character could have laid down in the back and been comfortable, is how big it is.
Wow. This would be good to get the villagers back to the base.
That's
Maybe.
Ooh, I can ride in that with a power on it too.
Yes, you can.
I try to broadcast the idea of getting this thing outside to collect sun.
Okay. It is big and it is heavy, and it is not moving under its own power.
It has no
Rex
wheels.
could pull it with the power armor, could he not?
Yeah, I'll try. If it does, and maybe we can get some of the other people too. If we
It's
could,
not budging, dude. Not with your power armor.
Gerg, can you pop it into neutral?
Gurgle try to pop it into neutral.
Roll some dice.
A 2 and a 1.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you that, Gerg. There's a precipitous hum. The vehicle kind of rolls back a little bit, and all of the screens dim, and the inside lights completely shut off. The screens are very, very dim now, but now you think you can roll it easily.
I'll let them know that.
Put
All
your
right,
back
you know-
into it, Rex.
Yeah, Rex, you put one hand on this thing and you're just using the casual strength of the armor to push it forward. It takes you about an hour, so that's an hour off your battery charge
Nice.
to roll this thing out. But you do get it out of the you do get it out of the cave. They've taken down that barrier that was halfway through the hall, and have jacked up. They figured out how to get they made some tech rolls of their own in your absence, so they can open that massive blast door and are able to raise it, and you get it out in the sun. Gerg, all of the displays start. The no funk goes away in a couple of places. All the displays are bright. The inside lights come back on.
Okay. Now trying to figure out how to drive this thing.
Give me a roll.
Ew. An 8 and a 7.
It lurches forward. It actually lifts up off the ground slightly and then slams back down onto the pavement. Like it was lifting up and then bounces back down.
Okay, a 5 and a 3.
It's still sitting there. You're back to some of the screens being on and some of them being off.
A 4
Okay.
and a 1.
All right. You try a couple of things and you are back to the point where you were when you figured out that it needed to be outside in the sun. And the wheels are free rolling. So you're back to you're back to the screens looking like that.
6 and a 2.
Can't really affect any changes.
9 and an 8.
It does the lift up off thing. It kind of lifts off. It's a couple of meters up, drags its right rear in sort of a slow 360-degree roll, and then slams back down into the pavement.
Okay,
Which you don't think is good for it.
6 and a 1.
You're back to the screens where you had it before, and then you get it back to the next set of screens. Screens wink on, screens wink off. You're not sure how many more times you can safely bounce it off the pavement.
Okay, this time I got a pair of 2s. 2 2s.
All right. Okay, all of the screens wink off. They all come back on. And you are now looking at a whole lot of symbology. There's no more text about functions not working. There's a triangle showing on one of the larger screens. It's a green triangle with kind of this blurry mass in the middle of it, and occasionally a line goes across, and the blurry mass gets very, very sharp definitions, and then it just periodically goes back and forth over that, and there are concentric lines radiating out from the bottom of the circle. The one over here says out/depth and has a horizontal line with a little diamond in the middle of it. The horizontal line is ever so slightly tilted to the right.
Okay. Got a 6 and a 3 on this roll.
Nothing changes.
A 2 and a 1.
Okay. There's a thump. The thing unsteadily rises up into the air. Those of you who are outside the vehicle, is everyone else outside the vehicle?
Yeah, I'm running away from the vehicle.
The vehicle is now about a half meter off the ground, and its wheels have rotated inwards about 45 degrees.
What?
And Gerg, you are now flying a bubble car.
Sweet.
The bubble car. You guys have basically found the +5 Holy Avenger with matching +5 plate mail and +5 shield.
Nice.
The ultimate transportation vehicle in Gamma World, powered by solar cells and using an anti-grav circuit. It can carry up to 20 passengers or 3 metric tons of cargo into deep space or the darkest depths of the ocean.
Wow.
Man.
They recharge themselves as long as at least 10 hours out of each 72 are spent in direct sunlight, Earth orbit, or less. They are equipped with an energy field that will absorb the first 25 hit points of damage sustained each melee round.
Dang.
The energy shield and backup power are provided by an atomic energy cell, which will last for 24 hours of constant use. Airspeed, 10 times the speed of sound. Congratulations.
What? 10 times the speed of sound? In
we can
atmosphere?
Take it up with Jim Ward. He's on Facebook.
I absolutely will.
I'm sure you'll find it to be a very engaging conversation. I like Jim. I'm not making fun of him. I'm just letting
he's
you
a
know
good guy.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is
I'm looking for some aviator glasses.
Danger
you
zone.
know what? You have there's a panel in the middle. There are aviator glasses designed to fit everyone, and you're not sure if they're for a human infant or what, but there is a set of wraparound goggles that fit on Gerg's noggin.
Okay.
So you guys have leveled the game up. I'm going to have to start throwing more dangerous stuff at y'all. Y'all haven't had a hard enough time. Plants that try and make you their baby daddy is not nearly dangerous enough. So next week when we return, to paraphrase John McClane, ho, 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 now I have a spaceship too. We're going to see what these fine adventurers do with their very cool air car. But before then, Monday, I'm going to come back and talk some more smack about Descent into the Depths of the Earth. Then Tuesday, we're going to play some AD&D, and James will be here in that. And Wednesday, Kyle will return the triumphant return of my co-host, Kyle Schuant, and we're going to answer your AD&D questions that you want answered. You didn't know we were going to do that? Leave us some questions in the comments. Leave them in the YouTube discussion comments. But don't ask them on Discord because they get lost there. Thursday, we got our fingers crossed, but I have a soft confirm. We're going to reschedule, and Skylar Hernstrom will be joining us on Thursday. And then Friday night, we're going to find out what the adventurers are going to find out with this brand new toy that I've gifted them. So thanks, everybody, for a great game. Before I go, I want to thank our patrons: Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky, Maru 1, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien 247, James, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. William Smith, the Dungeon Minister, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood. I've known Kevin longer than I haven't. I've literally known Kevin since I was 19 years old, folks. Good friend of mine. Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer, Rob Get Me, Demonetizulus, Jeremy Rule, Boganora, Mikey Mank, and Sky Hernstrom, which I think that's a first when a guest has joined up on the Patreon feed. So thank you to all those people. Thank you to our players. Thank you to our audience tonight. Audience, give yourself a round of applause. I'll catch you guys on the next show. Have a wonderful evening.